western Japan, scenes of devastation are emerging after a 7.6 magnitude quake shook the country, killing dozens of people. Now the search is on for survivors.
What a scary way to start off the new year. Frightening scenes coming out of Japan on New Year's Day show collapsed buildings, destroyed roads, trapped vehicles, and chaotic environments. The west coast of Japan, reeling after a powerful 7.6 magnitude earthquake, caused widespread damage, triggered tsunami warnings and 3-foot tsunami waves, and caused fires, ending over 57 lives.
After a series of powerful earthquakes, a magnitude 7.6 quake struck the Ishikawa prefecture, triggering tsunami alerts along the Noto Peninsula.
Residents have fled, and over 1,000 people have been told to evacuate. Could there be another disaster rocking Japan other than the earthquake? Join us as we uncover what just happened in Japan that shocks everybody. Number 1. Powerful earthquake slams Japan. Like a thief in the night, when the Japanese people were carried away with New Year celebrations, unaware of the tragedy looming over them, a powerful earthquake rocked central Japan on Monday, 1st of January 2024.
Earthquake. Earthquake.
Oh my god, it's big. I gotta go outside.
The tremor was so strong that it was also felt in Japan's capital, Tokyo, about 300 kilometers away on the other side of the country. According to the Japanese public broadcaster NHK, the earthquake triggered waves of more than 3 feet along parts of the Sea of Japan. It also destroyed buildings and disrupted flights in the region. Matters became worse because people were living close to water bodies. Residents scrambled in a frenzy to evacuate from coastal areas. Following the quake, with a preliminary magnitude of 7.6, the Japan Meteorological Agency had to issue tsunami warnings for 3 main areas: Ishikawa, Niigata, and Toyama. Japan is already known as the nation in the world most prone to earthquakes, but a tsunami warning for Monday had not been issued since a major quake and a tsunami struck the nation's northeast on March 11, 2011. 18,000 people passed away. The disaster brought devastation to towns and triggered nuclear meltdowns at the Fukushima Daiichi plant. Nearly all of Japan's nuclear power plants have been mothballed since the disaster. A tourist, Baldwell Chia, who experienced how frightening the quake was, talked about how everything at his place suddenly began shaking. People in malls and other shopping centers found themselves crouching to keep their balance. Water spilled on tables. People in offices were taken unawares as their office buildings seemed to be on the verge of tumbling over. Drivers were stunned as the quake's force tore the road before them. Number 2. The death toll rises to at least 57. At first, NHK reported that the quake left 6 people dead in Ishikawa and dozens injured in 4 other prefectures, including Toyama and Niigata, citing hospitals and local authorities. However, the toll from the 7.6 magnitude earthquake that struck Japan then rose to at least 48, then 57, according to Ishikawa prefecture authorities on Tuesday. 24 deaths were recorded in Wajima, 22 in Suzu, 5 in Nanao, 2 in Noto and Anamizu, and 1 in Hakui and Shika. About 159 people were injured across 7 prefectures. At least 22 people from Ishikawa had severe injuries. Earlier on Tuesday, Prime Minister Fumio Kishida told reporters after a disaster emergency meeting that a destroyed road had cut access to the affected areas and that rescuers were still working to reach people trapped under collapsed buildings. The quake shook the Noto Peninsula in Ishikawa on Monday afternoon, collapsing buildings, sparking fires, and triggering tsunami alerts as far away as eastern Russia. Japan's meteorological agency lifted all tsunami advisories along portions of the country's western coast Tuesday. But almost 24 hours after the quake struck, there has been limited access to the northern part of the secluded Noto Peninsula. Number 3. Overnight rescue missions. Prime Minister Kishida said on Tuesday that members of Japan's self-defense force had joined forces with the police and fire emergency teams overnight to rescue people from devastated areas. According to him, rescue efforts after the quake are a battle against time, especially the victims of collapsed buildings, who have to be saved as soon as possible. On Monday, Japan's fire department said it was responding to reports of people being trapped under damaged buildings, NHK reported. But that's not all. It does not guarantee they will live, even when trapped people are rescued. An older man who had been pulled from a house that collapsed in the quake was later confirmed to have died, according to NHK, citing police in Ishikawa. Perhaps the worst part for trapped or injured people is the fact that doctors themselves were trapped in their houses. Health officials in Suzu said some doctors could not treat wounded patients because damaged roads meant they could not transport themselves to work. According to the chief cabinet secretary, Yoshimasa Hayashi, officials continued to search for people buried under the rubble because 120 such incidents had been reported to local police or fire departments, which only raises the possibility of a higher death toll since it is unknown if the trapped people are alive or not. Problems are yet to come to an end. Officials have warned residents in the affected areas not to relax yet. They were told to brace themselves for further aftershocks, landslides, or even new tsunami warnings. But here comes the shocking part. There might be another earthquake. Speaking to reporters at a briefing on Tuesday morning, Noriko Kamaya of the Japan Meteorological Agency said there was at least a 10 to 20% chance that an earthquake of equivalent intensity could occur next week. That's yet another earthquake likely to happen in the same month. She urged residents to exercise caution during sea-based activities, such as fishing. If things continue like this, it is only a matter of time before the mental health of people becomes affected by all the anxiety and tension. Prime Minister Fumio Kishida told reporters on Tuesday that several teams were working around the clock to clear roads blocked by landslides or damaged buildings. The displaced persons were also considered retailers, supplying water, food, blankets, portable toilets, and other necessities to those accommodated in evacuation centers. Number 4. Power outages and halted trains. Meanwhile, according to the power company Hokuriku Electric Power, some 45,700 households in Ishikawa remained powerless on Tuesday as the quake caused a blackout.
Japan is bracing for more aftershocks following a series of earthquakes on New Year's Day. Authorities have now confirmed at least 30 people killed.
Following the quake, Japan's Kansai Electric and Chief Cabinet Secretary Yoshimasa Hayashi said no abnormalities were reported at nuclear plants near the affected areas. 4 bullet trains on high-speed journeys were forced to a halt when the earthquake struck, trapping nearly 1,400 passengers inside the trains for about 11 hours. The trains only resumed services on Tuesday morning, according to NHK. The high-speed trains had been stranded between the central cities of Toyama and Kanazawa following the 7.6 magnitude tremor. The telecom operators in Japan, SoftBank and KDDI, have reported phone and internet service disruptions in Ishikawa and Niigata prefectures. Number 5. Wajima fires and stranded passengers. The central city of Wajima, home to more than 27,000 people, appeared to be one of the worst disasters. Wajima city officials reported that 15 people had already been confirmed dead there. That's quite a number. Wajima City is a coastal city that is quite famous for its morning market and fine traditional lacquerware, but early surveys from the air on Tuesday revealed the direct opposite of the once lovely city. Smoldering fires and large plumes of smoke were seen engulfing the streets, and the buildings were destroyed. On Tuesday, the fire department in Wajima City reported that in a fire that broke out on Monday, about 200 buildings were believed to have been razed to the ground on Asaichi Street, a popular tourist area in the city. The department also said 25 buildings, including houses, had collapsed. But the worst part is that 14 structures may still have people trapped inside. It is unknown if they are dead or alive. In addition, around 500 people were stranded at Noto Airport after the terminal was damaged. Although they are being provided with food and blankets, the nearby roads have been damaged, so they can't get out, NHK reported on Tuesday, adding that the airport will be closed until at least Thursday. The earthquake and tsunami warnings prompted thousands of people to flee coastal areas. As of Tuesday afternoon, more than 27,700 people in Ishikawa had taken shelter in 336 evacuation centers, according to the local government spokesperson. Surprisingly, other countries have issued tsunami warnings too. Russia issued tsunami warnings in its far-flung cities of Vladivostok and Nakodka as the earthquake in Japan triggered alarms. Local authorities in Vladivostok ordered fishermen to get back ashore immediately. North and South Korea and the neighboring island of Sakhalin have also issued tsunami warnings. A tsunami wave measuring up to 0.67 meters in height reached South Korea's east coast of Mukho in Gangwon province on Monday night. Authorities in Gangwon and Samcheok cities have warned residents to evacuate to higher ground. On the other hand, North Korea also witnessed waves of up to 2.08 meters on its east coast. On Sakhalin Island, near Japan, an emergency services alert said its western coast may be affected by tsunami waves. Number 6. Jet crash amid sorrow. The New Year tragedy did not stop with the earthquake disaster, which is already much of a problem. Another tragedy happened when people were beginning to stabilize themselves to get over the earthquake. A runway collision stunned the world, leaving people wondering what was happening. But the even more stunning part is that there were lots of survivors on one of the planes. The plane, Flight 516, carrying 379 people, burst into flames as it landed in Tokyo's Haneda Airport. On touchdown, it collided with a Japanese Coast Guard plane.
A Japan Airlines plane has caught fire at Tokyo's Haneda Airport, and all runways at the airport have been closed.
First came the shock as the Airbus A350 collided with the second plane. Then came heat and smoke as the jet sped along the runway in a trail of flames. The panic only increased as the flames got closer, and the survival instincts of the passengers kicked in. It became chaotic as people scrambled, trying to flee a cabin filled with fumes, knowing fully well that their lives depended on the next few seconds. Surprisingly, the pilot managed to keep the airplane in control and gradually brought it to a halt as smoke began to fill the cabin amidst the flames. The fact that everyone on Japan Airlines Flight 516 escaped is something extraordinary. According to some experts, a flawless evacuation and new technology played a large part in their survival. With the people out, fire crews began to battle the flames, which were so fierce that they burned through the plane's structure. But it was a collision of two planes. What happened to the people on the other plane? They were not so fortunate. It was to be expected since the jet was the smaller of the two planes. 5 of them lost their lives. The pilot survived but suffered serious injuries. Investigators are still piecing together what happened at 1747 local time at Haneda Airport, trying to understand why 2 planes could have been on the runway simultaneously. What makes it sadder is the fact that the Coast Guard plane was on its way to deliver aid to the victims of the powerful earthquake that jolted Japan just the day before.
Japan is bracing for more aftershocks after a series of powerful earthquakes triggered the highest-level tsunami warning.
It was a tragedy in another tragedy. Japan's Prime Minister, Fumio Kishida, has offered his condolences to the families of the 5 people who died while trying to help others. These tragic experiences that have rocked Japan, disrupting New Year celebrations and shocking the world, are among the toughest experiences that a nation can have. But in times like this, there is one thing that can endure moments like this, and that's our all-new Cosmos Tough Samsung cases available for sale for the new year. You don't want to miss out. Quickly grab a piece by clicking on your screen or checking the first link in the description. What do you think of these tragedies that happened in Japan at the beginning of a new year? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe to see more videos.